As an engineer, I'm a nuclear engineer by training, but bachelor.
Wait. Did you just say nuclear engineer?
Welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. Here's your host, Scott Cowan.
So my guest today is Flippo with Dué Cucina. I hope I did both those names justice. Can you introduce yourself and give us a little bit of your backstory pre-Seattle? I'd like to hear a little bit, because when we talked on the phone the other day, to me, you've done some really unusual things. You might not think so, but I thought so.
Well, I mean, my parents think that are very unusual, so I probably you are right. And I still don't know what I'm gonna do when I grow up. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Filippo. You said it right. Yay. The name of the company is Dué Cucina, and you said it right. So that make me think that you probably went to Italy a few times.
No.
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 Well, then you know how to speak it anyway. No, before Dué, I'm an Italian. I love cooking. I'm an engineer by training. And basically, when I started engineering, I was like 18. I said, well, when I make my money as an engineer and I'm 40 years old, I will open a restaurant. Then didn't happen. I opened the first restaurant with my business partner, Davide, when I was 30, with no money whatsoever, but with a good background. You're right. So as an engineer, I'm a nuclear engineer by training, but bachelor.
Wait. Did you just say nuclear engineer?
Oh, yeah, nuclear engineer. So basically, I got my bachelor. And then, because for me, it was a way for traveling the world, you know? We don't have nuclear power in Italy, but we have a very good education system for nuclear engineering. And so I said, I get this one, and that's my ticket for the world. And indeed it was. I got my bachelor thesis in Canada, and then I worked over there for a while, got back in Italy for my master, still in nuclear engineering, safety and nuclear engineering. And then I started traveling as a consultant for University of Pisa, so researcher and consultant. I did that for like 3 years, so, good stuff. Like when you're 25, 26, good stuff. You travel Argentina, right. China, US, whatever, Sweden. And after a while, I decided to apply for Ph.D. school because I had enough of Italy again. And I fell in love with China during one of my trips over there. I applied to the US. And at a certain point, I said, let me apply to China. Let's see what they do. Let's see what there is. And I found the school that it was the MIT of Asia. I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty fair. And I got admitted. So it's the Tsinghua University in Beijing. And it's definitely now one of the top 10 in the world. So I was pretty, lucky in the sense. And then, I worked. I took my PhD there for like 3 years. So this was 2012 to 2016. And during the time over there, we had this idea with my business partner, now business partner, before it was just my best friend, but not just, it was my best friend. He was in Australia, so I went to visit him in Australia, in Sydney, and we said, can we have pasta for lunch? And he's like, no, it's super expensive or it's super crappy. And I was like, well, then we should bridge it. We should do something about it.
Right.
And we decided to make this affordable, high quality, and fast business. So I went back. This was in 2013, I believe. So we started talking and nurturing this idea. Of course, it was working in tech. I was taking my PhD, so nothing too serious, but
Right.
And then what happened? Happened that my wife, I was always complaining about bread in China, and she gave me this book about baking from Richard Bertinet, baking sourdough, and I started making bread at home. Now, as an Italian, you kind of know how to cook a little bit because, it's big family dinner, so you're always there helping the grandma and so on. But as in particular, we had a wood fire home, and so I make pizza with my parents since I was 4 years old. So I always loved baking.
Okay.
But never seriously, just baking. But my wife gave me this book and kind of changed everything. My wife was a big, you call it foodie here. I like it more gourmand. I don't like the word foodie, but just personal opinion. And she come from a good background, so very good restaurant, expensive stuff that, I never even tasted in my small town in Italy. And I remember once I make this mushroom risotto at home, and it was like only three months dating probably. And I say, hey, this is restaurant 11. And she's like, no, this is absolutely not restaurant 11. Like, whoa, who am I dating here? She was so strict and firm, and then she put me straight. So at that point, I said, okay, you know what? My business partner was like, hey, if you want to be a cook in the restaurant, you better make yourself an education. My wife was like, if you think that this is restaurant level, forget about it. So I got all of books and books and books about cooking and the science behind it. And then I started teaching classes in a cultural center in China. I started with baking first because it was the one that I had more knowledge. And then in 2-3 years, I expanded to 9 different classes that were called Taste of Italy. So 3 recipes, and for every class, like Taste of Italy Florence, Taste of Italy Milan. And those were open to international people as well as Chinese. It's a beautiful cultural center called the Hutong, or the Courtyard in China. And then it came out of the blue. Somebody contacted me on the equivalent of WhatsApp or WeChat. I think now many people know WeChat, the Chinese messaging app. And I was on a trip in Vietnam with my wife. Well, yeah, it was already a wife, I believe. And they were like, hey, we are recording this series of TV shows about cooking. We would like to have you part of it. And I'm like, it must be a scam or some student, so I don't care. So after 3 weeks, I go back and my wife is like, hey, did you ever contact them back? I'm like, no, forget about it. I mean, what's the point? And she's like, you never know. So I contact back, and they were indeed the biggest, one of the biggest studio in China, the equivalent of YouTube here. It was Le TV. Then now I think they went burst, but they were huge.
Okay.
So I ended up doing 12 series of TV shows without.
How was that experience for you?
Oh man, that was fantastic. It was like be yourself, be wild, enjoy every single moment. Because my Chinese wasn't that great. I was speaking like 7-8 years old.
Okay.
Good enough. But when they approached me and I went to this meeting, and there was 4 people just for not for that, for scripting. Yeah, it was a script interview. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Let's give everything I have, And they explained what they wanted to do. So basically, we were supposed to be 6 chefs, all friends. They were going to either invite or going to the house of some VIP across Asia, like Korean, Taiwanese, and so on. And then 2 of us will fight in a cooking contest.
Okay.
Of course, everything was kind of scripted, but we also, gave us some freedom. And then they're like, talk about yourself, or what do you do if this happened? And they got me. I mean, they got me, I think, mostly because of the blue eyes that in China open a lot of doors, not because I'm that fun or something. I don't know. They got me. And it was great, the first time. And at that time, I didn't realize how big it was. During the first recording, they flew us to Korea because it was a partnership with South Korea. On the flight, there were about 45 people in the team.
Oh.
And when I ended up in the studio, I counted there was 37 cameras. I'm like, oh, holy cow. And then I wrote to my wife. My wife is Malaysian. I wrote to my wife, hey, by the way, the presenter is Tao. And she's like, what? Are you kidding me? I'm like, yeah, who's this person? She's like, she's super famous. She's from Taiwan. She's great. Okay. So we after 1 month of recording, so it took 3 months to do the 12 session, all between Korea and China. I went back once to the Beijing airport, and I found my face on the billboard, on advertisement. So you see me like this, oh no, with the hoodie covering myself, because I was just shy. And but it wasn't like a breakthrough performance or something that went viral and everybody knows you in the street. But there were a couple of instances in which people pointed finger at me and they were watching this video. It was a show that to be thought and to be consumed on smartphone for people like subway ride and stuff like that, for like not even millennial, Generation Z, like 18 to 30 years old. But yeah, it was kind of cool, going to the airport, see your face there, and going around. The best part for me was like makeup time. I had my other chef like 3 hours of a hairstylist, and I'm like, done.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
I got this.
I was like, give me some powder, otherwise I'm gonna be shining. But that's it.
Oh,
so it was beautiful.
All right. So you and your business partner, your best friend, how did you guys end up in Seattle?
Seattle is a beautiful city. Of course, we didn't know by then. My business partner was in Boston, finishing his MBA. So everything is data-driven, right? Every decision is data-driven. Even like, should I get married or not? But mostly we just decided to have a very engineering approach to it. And we're like, okay, where do we go? Should we stay in Boston? And that was like off. No, because it's too cold. He was like, I don't care. This is also our life. I spent 2 years over here. Too much snow, too cold. Forget it. And me, I was like, yeah, my wife won't like cold. Then we say New York, and we're like, New York might be Italian food to exploit. There is too much competition. People knows a lot. Let's go in a place that is like more adventurous. They want to experience a little bit more. And we compared San Francisco and Seattle. San Francisco was our American dream, the Californian dream since we were a teenager. But then when you put down the number, you look like the rent, cost of living. And, I have to uproot my wife, maybe start having kids. So we're like, we can probably not afford it with what we have in mind to do. And Seattle turned out to be the city in 2016 that had the highest number of college people with college degree. So we needed to have people that travel, people that understand what authentic food is, what good food is as well. A lot of disposable income. The city was growing I think it was like 10% rate per year. So a lot of new opportunity for location and so on. And we decided to come over here. Also, we had a friend that was working in Amazon. So we're like, if we have to do some trips over there in the meantime, we can crash on the couch. So he ended up investing in us as well. So it was a bold move in the sense, but very solid numbers behind it. And it turned out to be winning so far, because we would have lost so much money the first year in San Francisco that forget it. It's just no way. Yeah. But then now we have our kids over here, so we totally love it. It was a good choice.
Well, excellent. So let's talk about opening up your first location, because I'm sure it went just, you created a little document, check 1, check 2, step 5, we're good. Yeah, I'm sure it went smooth and flawless, perfect. No. In all seriousness, what was it like? You moved to a city you don't know a lot of people.
Yep.
You really probably didn't have a great knowledge of the time of the business climate, what you were kind of getting into, the regulations and all of that. So what was it like opening up the first location?
All right. A roller coaster. I won't say probably nothing new than any other person that start a business say, but for us what was shocking was the labor market. I was not expecting people not coming up to work in the morning without telling you anything. And that was really shocking, to the point that at night I was waking up to check the phone if I have any message. It was terrible in that way. But we were in Broadway, so we still have the store in Broadway. So it was a very nice location. And a lot of what gave us the strength and the force was that a lot of people supported us, because as we were doing just high quality. Yeah, we can talk about working 90 hours per week, but there's nothing, different than any other person that start a business.
Sure.
It was tough. It was tough because we had these fantastic reviews, much better than now. We probably were a 4.9 on Yelp or something like that. But business wasn't picking up. And it was at the time they were still called Due Minute, where people was like, oh, I'm going to the pasta place on the hill. So it wasn't easy in that sense. So we were definitely losing money every month. And it got tough. But what we never banded, and Davide was at the time still working in Amazon. He went to work in Amazon full time for visa issues. So I was trying to hold the ship by myself with Davide helping after his long hours of work. But he was like, go with quality. Mm-hmm. So, we could have banned on save on products, save on something like that. No, we actually decided to invest even more on quality, and that eventually pay off. After 1 year, we start seeing like increasing in sales. And then when we started thinking about it, we changed our name and we started dimming the light and we changed the plates and changed the tables. We invested a lot and it started taking off. But the first year was, I look at it like as a very, very good learning experience. I have no madness of regret or anything we did, even though we screw up a lot of things, like a lot of things.
Well, like what? I love asking that question. So since you brought it up, give me one. Tell me something.
Okay.
I'll frame the question. Let me frame the question.
Right. Plates.
Putting something on the menu.
Yeah.
What was an idea that you had to go on the menu that you thought, oh, this will be great, and Seattle just didn't respond?
The menu worked. The menu, like the item on the menu worked. We changed them routinely, probably too often. There was really nothing that was received wrong. It was great food and still is, but it was a bit more on the gourmet side. These confit cherry tomato that take me 8 hours to cook, and sometimes I ended up at 1:30 in the morning peeling with my wife, and she's like, "You can't keep doing this." I'm like, "Okay." Or it was oxtail braise that we were braising overnight. So leaving the oven on, and it was fantastic review. What was wrong? It was a lot of other things, like plates, simple things like a plates. We decided to buy these enamel metal plates that cost like $9 each. Oh man, that was wrong.
Why?
Why? Okay, because when you put something in the hot, the place burned, right? And people didn't like it. At the same time, they give away a lot of heat, so the pasta get cold very fast. And then as soon as they chip a little bit, if you're familiar with the enamel, that they chip, they start to have this little patina, this little rust. That for me was beautiful because it's like the 70s. This is my grandma's plates. People started posting reviews, and it's like, oh, the plates are burned. They can't even afford good plates. I'm like, okay. Hold on here. Why people don't like that? And then we had lights. Oh my God, lights. If you get inside our first restaurant, you need sunglasses. It was thought to be a lunch spot, but it turned out to be a very dinner-focused location. And most of it, our constructor didn't realize they put the LED light on a dimmer on a 220-volt circuit instead of 110. So even with the dimmer at the lowest level, it was like a solarium.
Oh my gosh.
It was like awful, man. It was awful. And it took like a little bit of time to realize the light played a big factor in welcoming customers. Then we had tables that were inherited from the previous restaurant. There was a noodle shop, so they were kind of crappy, that beige color, nothing fancy about it. And people like didn't like it. I mean, we had a big bench on one side. It was used mostly to put scarf and jacket during winter than actually sit on that. So we changed. These small things made a difference. We had uniform. Our uniform were black, with no character, nothing. And my parents came to visit, and I was like, Flippo, what are you doing? Change it. You have to be, you with the white, everybody with a bright color. So now everybody's in red. Me, I have a white shirt. chef coat. It's, when you go in those coffee shop that they have those aprons with leather strips that cost $75. Well, they make a difference. So everything made a difference. But the food was there, and that is what kept us alive.
Okay. We're gonna bounce around from now because I've got questions.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's your favorite dish?
That it was on the menu, or my favorite dish in general?
We'll go with both of those questions on your menu. What's your favorite? Like, if I were to come in, give me the scenario. I'm going to show up today at one of your locations for lunch.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say to you, I'm going to take your recommendation.
All right.
What would you serve? Because I'm going to assume you're going to serve me something that you really like.
Yes.
So what would you serve?
What I really like change every day. So depends on the day that you come, you're gonna have a different recommendation. But I will probably recommend you something. I will ask you something like, "Hey, are you familiar with the Italian food? Because we are authentic." And if you ask, yeah, sure. Then I would say, would you like to go with something that's like a cacio e pepe? Of course, everybody knows cacio e pepe now. That is very authentic. So on the saltier side, with addition of guanciale. Guanciale is a cured pork cheek that we cure in house and age in house.
Oh.
And if you say yes, I will tell you it's rich, it's strong in flavor. Think about those shepherd that take the herd of the sheep and go on the mountain. What they bring with them is cured meat and those pieces of cheese. That's what it was. So the dish is called gricia. That is basically the guanciale and the cacio e pepe. And that is probably my recommendation for somebody that knows about food a little bit.
Okay, that sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, on the safer side, I will tell you our bolognese is top notch. I will tell you that we use Painted Hill sustainable beef and pieces pure country pork from Mount Vermont sustainable pork. And it's delicious. I mean, done in a very authentic way. I will tell you that the pasta is not drowsy in sauce. Is it tomato based? I'm like, it's a bolognese. It's not tomato based. It's like dense. It's not like, and that's probably something that would really work. But what I loved is, I think it was a masterpiece. I did it for First Start Chef's Night. I had one of those as a donation, as a charity event. And I made this oxtail beef tongue braise with confiture tomato. That is like a tomato that you make slow roasted in the oven for like 8 hours. And then I use that one as a base for the sauce. And it was unbelievable. That is unbelievable. But it definitely takes a little bit too long to make for every day. But, we still do it sometimes as a special, like oxtail braise. I like braise. I like slow cooking and the richness that they bring to the plate. In particular, in a weather like Seattle, that you need every day a big hug when the fall comes,
Well, at the time that we're recording this, fall is in the air.
I look today and I'm like, I need a hug.
Yeah. So how is it today in Seattle? What's the weather like? What are you looking out at?
Cloudy, not too bad. Okay. It's not raining. Yesterday it was raining, and it was very welcome because I garden as well, and my soil needed water. Okay. So I was happy. But yeah, I mean, it started to be fall. I love fall. The color change, and there's a lot of things going on. The dahlia welcome you every corner, so it's pretty bright as well. Yeah.
So I am on your website and I'm looking at your handmade ravioli.
Oh, fantastic, man.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So those ravioli are probably the thing that I could really put down in a very fancy dining restaurant. Okay. But I have to put only 5 on the plate instead of 12 as we do. The smaller, the more precious, right? So people will pay $25 for that. Without being too cocky, it's really a fantastic dish. So for the pasta, we use these happy hand eggs, the heritage one. It took me 6 months to get it over here. They come from Arkansas, and I had to convince our supplier to bring it in for us. Now that now a lot of other restaurants are using it thanks to our supplier, and I'm fine with that. They're super red. They're pasture raised, beautiful flavor, and I'm very particular about eggs. I have my chickens at home. Okay. And I grew up back home in Italy with chickens as well with my dad. So I kind of like eggs. Okay. So you can see the color. They're very orangey. The pasta is very orange. There is no coloring. It's just the egg yolk. And then we use organic baby spinach and this salted ricotta that we imported directly from farmers in Sardinia. The cost us a lot, but it's really, really valuable, really important. It's made by Arezu. Arezu is the consortium that make it. And the product changed with the season. It's summer, it tastes in one way. It's spring, it tastes a different way because the sheep eat differently. In August, we just don't have it. So I have to import a lot more in July. So we talked to the farmer, how much do you have? And they were like, 500 pounds, send it all. And when they came here, my chef was like, chef, we got no space for this. I'm like, guys, find space. We need it. So that's what it is, like really. Ricotta, and then we use also fresh ricotta, hand deep fresh ricotta. made here locally. It's such a beautiful dish. And then, the classic pairing of butter and sage. The butter is that we use is a cultured butter. It's just simplicity. It's perfect. Then when it's plated, it's topped with Parmigiano Reggiano. We only use Parmigiano Reggiano 24 months over here, and we buy the whole wheel so we can save a little bit of money, and we have to open the wheel ourselves. But also we save some money, but also there is no oxidation, We go through among 3 restaurants right now, 4 or 5 wheels per week. Each wheel is 80 pounds.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So you're going through 300 to 400 pounds
of Parmigiano Reggiano, yes.
Parmigiano Reggiano a week.
A week, yes. It's a lot. Consider that one wheel has about 600 quarts of milk. It's a lot.
I did not realize that it had that much milk in it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic product, though.
Wow. Okay.
So let
me ask you this question then.
Yeah.
How many pounds of pasta are you going through in a week?
All right. I think we make an average of, let's do the math with me. We do an average of 10 batches every day just for one store, or maybe 9. Each batch has 15 pounds. So let's say 150 pounds per store.
So 450 a week or 450 a day.
Yeah, but that's only the flour without the water. Right. So if you add the water, for 50, we go to 600 pounds. Yeah, something like that. 600 pounds, 500, let's say 500 pounds per store per day.
It's a lot of pasta.
Yeah, we're lucky. Capitol Hill, we're doing about a lot of pasta. When I look at the numbers, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, it's 600 pasta per day. So yeah, it's probably less, 500 pounds.
Wow. Okay. So one of the things I'm looking at, I'm on your menu, and I've got to say, I'm on our pastas part of your menu.
Sure.
So by no means am I trying to say this is the entire menu, but I'm looking here, and at the time that we're recording this, let's be fair, because this could change tomorrow.
And I'm actually thinking of changing in the next couple of weeks.
So less than $14.
Yes.
For an entree.
Yes.
We're not trying to turn this into a business episode,
yeah.
But how are you guys? That's amazing that in the Seattle market, you're able to do handmade fresh pasta with all these ingredients at under $15 a plate.
Yeah, you're touching a good point.
That's awesome.
You're touching a good point. When we started, we said we have to make it work in this way because we want to be in this price range and want to have this quality. Then we have to make it work. Right. So we didn't make it work for the first year. We just bleeding money. But we didn't make it work after. We need to make at least 280 pasta a day to break even. And we do, and then what we do is if you come in our restaurant, there is no tablecloth, there is no service. We rely a lot on definitely volume and economy of scale. And we rely on self-ordering kiosks, in particular now the COVID. So shrinking our front of the house member. We rely on cross-training. So every time that everybody's trained in the front, you get trained also in the back. So smart operation. And everything that we have is digitalized, let's say, from checklists to make it easier, controlling temperature of the fridges. So we say we don't have somebody going and probe every single fridge, for instance. We just have everything on the smartphone and we see what the temperature are. We save a lot as well on mostly really services save us a lot and volume. So it's not a fancy place. It's a very nice welcoming place where you're coming for good food, for good time with your friends. And then, some people complain, but I don't like here is I can't stay here for 2 hours and have a glass of wine. But we're you can. Nobody asked you to leave. But, we don't have that kind of atmosphere where you like to chill out for hours.
Right.
It's really coming and going.
Okay.
And plus, of course, we have a lot of to-go order and delivery. So we could not do this with just 45 seats, of course.
So let's talk about in the time of COVID, and with uncertainty about whether a restaurant can be open or closed or half capacity or all of those things. Let's just skip all that. But takeout, delivery.
Yeah.
How does one keep pasta? How does one deliver pasta in a takeout in a good way?
Look, I never thought in my life that I would eat myself box pasta. Then life hit you with 2 kids at home, and your wife is like, "Hey, can you care about dinner? Sure, take the pasta. Sorry, bag it, bring it home. After half an hour, eating it, you're like, it's pretty damn good." So what happened is, think about a hamburger that get wrapped and then sit in a box that become all soggy and wet and messy, right? I mean, I still do hamburger to go. I don't care. But you have an expectation that the quality is going to drop. Our pasta drop about 20% and then stay constant.
Okay.
At the moment that you close the box, the topping, the cheese on top is kind of melting, and then you start creating condensation. But that's it. After half an hour, it's the same. The flavor are there.
Okay.
So we always bet, we are in the first restaurant is in Broadway, a lot of techie people, so a lot of delivery. We were doing catering before. So the product was working very well. And in COVID time, we just doubled down on that. We said, you know what, let's start our delivery service, our app, and we improve our packaging for sure. We'll make some more research on that. And it works. I mean, it works. I'm eating it. Is it the same? No. Do I have customers come, oh my God, first time after COVID, I'm trying, in a plate. It really is better. I'm like, yeah, it is better, but were you unhappy before? Oh no, I was super happy before. So,
right. So what I'm hearing from you is someone who's passionate about food, but is approaching it with a very engineering mindset.
That's my business partner. Me, I would love to be only passionate about food and spend time in the kitchen. But the reality is nowadays, there is a lot of moving part, right, in a restaurant. Right. If you want to do delivery or to go is an essential part of your business. Even like fine dining. I look in the area, Daniel's Broiler does delivery, and they do steak. How do you make a medium rare steak in a box? I don't know. That costs you $60, but you have to do it. And you have to do it. And at that point, you have to approach it with data in a way that give the best quality and experience to your customer. Absolutely. And if your customer wants no fast ordering system, well, then you have to go and develop your own app and be tech savvy in that sense. You can't say, no, this is a restaurant, I don't want to be techy. Well, then you're losing part of the business.
So did you guys develop your own app, or are you using somebody else's?
Well, we partner with a third-party company.
Okay.
I mean, not many companies develop their own. But yeah, it's great. I mean, if you see it, you think it is our own app. It's on Apple Store and Google, but we have our own delivery system. So it's just, that's what you got to do. Food, unfortunately, nowadays, food is only one part of the business. I'm sure that there are people like us that are more on the techie side, and people are more about super fine plating and nice Instagram story, and they work more on that to create awareness. But yeah, food is just one part.
So you opened your first location. How long was it before you opened the second one?
Well, it took about 3 years and a half. So we opened, 3.5. We opened the second one in December 2020.
Okay.
So actually, it's 4 years. There was, it should have been earlier, but then COVID hit and we kind of paused it for a while. Then we opened that one in December, and then we opened this third one where I am right now in August 2021.
Okay.
So,
and how are all three locations? Because they're all, so first off, so we've got one on Capitol Hill.
Yes.
The one that you're sitting in today is located?
Is in, this is the third one, and is in Roosevelt. So it's a Roosevelt neighborhood, just a little bit north of the university. Mm-hmm. And the second one is in Totem Lake. That is a mall. Is those outdoor living mall. It's a beautiful space. And of course, you have different demographics. For instance, Totem Lake has much more dining customers. They care much less about COVID as well. It's just different.
Yeah,
just different.
It is. It's just different no matter where we go.
Yeah.
Do you have plans for further?
Oh, yeah.
Pasta domination?
There's no pasta domination. There is a pasta sharing.
Pasta sharing. Okay.
Pasta sharing. We really try to be, I don't want to say a neighbor place, but we really try to bring and make people understand what authentic food is, and make them understand that authentic food can be affordable. High quality can be affordable.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be $25 for a dish of pasta.
Okay.
So yeah, our idea has always been to grow this company big, even out of state. So we are currently looking for other locations, and that is why we have to have this engineering approach. We can't make mistakes because we spent all the money that we had in the first restaurant that was screwing up everything. So now we really can't make mistakes. We need to look at the data and be engineer about it.
Okay. I think in today's day and age, how do I want to say this? So I think some people think opening a restaurant's an easy way to make money. And I think the opposite. I think opening a restaurant's an easy way to lose money. Because
go ahead.
You don't order correctly. You order a bunch of perishable stuff and it goes bad. Whoops. You might have missed it with the plates at first. So now you've had to invest in new plates.
Yeah.
Things. I mean, and then staffing. I don't know. I'm glad you're running the restaurant and that I'm not. Let's just put it that way. And I also think though that I'm so grateful that there's restaurants out there that are serving good food that are affordable prices that care about what they're doing. And I think what you guys are doing sounds so intriguing. So kudos to both of you. And I have to come over across the pass and try. I got to get from Wenatchee over there and give it a shot. I will be doing that soon. So enough about that. What do you guys do when you're not running a restaurant in that, 30 minutes every day that you got to yourself? What do you like to do what do you and the family like to do in the Seattle area?
All right. So me, I have a 4 years old and now I'm 9 months old.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're a busy man.
Yeah. They keep me fairly busy. Wife is doing a fantastic job with them. We are lucky enough that she can stay home. So both kids have the good time with mama. What we like to do, just do what the kids want to do. Go to the playground, go to the park, go swim into Alki, go and fly a kite. Myself, if I have a little bit of time, I try to relax gardening, growing more vegetable, making the best eggs that I can with my 4 chickens. We rarely.
So let me pause. Okay, so what are you doing to keep your chickens happy and producing good eggs?
So first, you have
what
to
does
know
a chicken need?
That I live in an urban setting. I have a townhouse with no garden, but in front of it there was a blackberry marshland that belonged to nobody, and nobody cared about them. So if you don't take care of blackberries, they kind of invaded our small patio. So I started. Okay, let me clear a little bit and put some flowers. And then after 2 months, okay, let me clear a little bit more. And then COVID hit. I'm like, you know what? Forget about it. So now we have this plot of land that is like, I think it's like 20 feet by 40 feet square.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I just, chicken, what you got to do? Open and let them pasture. Okay. Then I make my own compost. So part of our company is also sustainability, and I bring this at home as well. So I do not have a compost bin for the city to pick up. We compost everything. Okay. So I have my black soldier fly larvae that come from there. I feed them to the chicken. They're super happy animals. Trust me, they're gourmand animals. But you see a difference. If you let them out pasturing for a week, the egg changing color, the flavor is much, much more there. Instead, if I'm busy and for a week they don't open and they just stay in their own chicken run, not the same thing.
Not the same. So you notice it. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Okay. So gardening.
Yeah, gardening. Cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I really cook at home.
So is it safe to assume you like coffee?
I do love coffee. I love the flavor. In fact, we have a tiramisu back here at the restaurant. I love coffee.
So if you're out and about and not at your restaurant, where do you like to go for coffee?
I like to support Cafe Umbria.
Okay.
I do not disregard people. Please don't kill me. But when it's cold at Starbucks, I just drink black coffee because it keeps my hands warm. I like, Cafe Umbria probably if I can.
Cafe Umbria?
Yeah.
And when you're drinking coffee, do you drink black coffee all the time? Or
Espresso.
Is that just espresso?
Oh, I love Victrola or Victrola. I don't know how to say that. Mm-hmm. Their single origin is outstanding.
Okay.
And then the Empire Coffee House in Columbia City.
Not tried that one.
Yeah, if you get a single shot from them, it's like probably 10 drops only, but it's so intense. That's enough. It's just so good. It's so short. It's so good.
So, all right. So you grew up in Italy, and we're going to just make a stereotype that you grew up with good coffee. I don't know if that's true or not. How does coffee in Seattle compare to coffee in Italy? Seattle
tend to be more burn.
Okay.
Stronger in the flavor, in the burning flavor, in the toasting flavor. Less aromatic. On average, it's not a bad coffee because you can really see that here they're trying. I mean, there are many more coffee shops here that they toast their own coffee than there in Italy. I don't know any bar or any coffee shop in Italy that make it their own. We just get it from different supply.
Right.
So there is much more research over here, much more passion in the sense. For us, it's more of a way of living. And in fact, for us, an espresso costs 90 cents. It doesn't cost $3. But so on average, Italy is much more aromatic, more round, definitely less burn. Okay. That's the biggest problem with the Seattle coffee.
You're not a fan of that darker roasting profile. That's fine.
Yeah, let's call it darker roasting profile. It's very politically correct.
I got to walk the fine line there.
Yeah, sure.
I enjoy coffee as a lot. And the ones that you've named are all, in my opinion, delicious. I too will drink at Starbucks.
Yeah.
I will. But I prefer, when at all possible, to go and try. I always ask the guests to give me recommendations so that when I'm traveling, I can try a new place. So it's always good for that. When the family, let's put the kids on the spot. So when the family wants to go out to eat somewhere, what's the family currently liking?
The 4 years old decide, and she's usually up for pasta.
But now we can't.
I don't know if it's up for pasta or because she likes to go to certain restaurant because she knows what's the treat after. So if she wants frozen yogurt, she want to go to Capitol Hill. If she want to have an ice cream, she want to go to Kirkland Totem Lake. There is a Salt and Straw. If she want to go to the lake, she want to come over here in Roosevelt so she could go to Green Lake.
You've got a smart 4-year-old on your hands.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But other than that, she enjoy a burger. She enjoy eating a burger.
So let's give a 4-year-old's recommendation for a burger in Seattle. Where'd she like to go?
She like 8 ounces.
What?
8 ounces burger.
8 ounces?
Oh yeah, there are probably 2 or 3 restaurants here in Seattle.
I have not heard of that one.
Oh, you should try, man. It's, in my opinion, is one of the best.
Okay. All
8
right.
ounces deluxe burger is called. 8 ounces burger. One in Capitol Hill, one in Ballard. Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Lily's Burger is another one that I like. Lily's Burger. Okay. And then there is a Seattle Rainy City Burger that is pretty good.
Okay. All right. So what else? So do you guys get out? Do you do are you into hiking at all? Do you do any outdoor activities? Or is it, I know when you're running a restaurant chain, you got 2 children, you got a garden and chickens. That doesn't leave a lot of time.
The children are the issue here. We do like to go out. Let's say we like to fly more to different places.
Okay.
My wife is Malaysian, I'm Italian. So the older kid, she was 3 months. She went the first flight. And by the the first year March, she already went 4 continents. But not because we like traveling. We have family members, so we have to go and visit them, right?
Sure.
So now she's missing traveling. But yeah, we do like hiking a little bit. It gets difficult. We short and small hike. Snoqualmie Pass is our to-go way. It's like 45 minutes from home. But otherwise, just here in the city, one place that was stunning for me was the I forgot the name. The park toward the north that brings you to the lighthouse. Do you know that? Let me check.
Now I'm drawing a blank. You're putting me on the spot.
I'm sorry. No, I'm telling you.
Good.
It's beautiful. I mean, we are in front of the computer. It's really stunning. It's called the Discovery Park.
Discovery Park. Okay.
Yeah.
I will tell you.
Go ahead.
My daughter lives in Austria.
Okay.
And she has 2 my grandchildren. I'm trying to think how old my oldest granddaughter was when she flew to the United States for the first time. Like she was not 3 months old, but maybe 6.
Yep.
And then my grandson was probably 3.5 months old when he flew over for the first time. So I kind of get it now. They haven't been to 4 continents yet. They went on a little family trip to Italy for 10 days, just got back from that recently. So they went to San Marino as well, So anyway, so my grandkids travel a lot. So I think that's great that you're raising children that are going to be world travelers, even if nothing else, just to see family. That's amazing.
It opens up your brain, it opens up your mind, not to think that you live always in the best place in the world, or at least see that there are other places equally beautiful or equally unequal. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally. Yeah. I mean, to be able to go and see someplace. So for you, where do you want to go next? Is there some place in the world you haven't seen that you want to go to?
Well, right now I would like to go home because it's 3 years I don't go home, thanks to COVID as well. But my parents, for instance, haven't seen my younger kid yet. But we're planning a short trip to Hawaii, probably.
Okay.
There is one place that is still haunting me because I didn't go, is in China. There are 2 places. One is the Guilin province, and the other is where they film, or they get inspiration from the Avatar. Don't remember the name. That all those mountains, those pillar mountains that go up. Mm-hmm. Actually 3. And then I didn't go for in the desert, like where they start the Gobi Desert, where there is the end or the start of the Great Wall. I thought I was close by because I was in the province, but then it was still another 3-hour flight. I was like, okay, well, maybe dimension a bit too big. I didn't realize that.
I think I've never been to China, but I think the scale of that country is probably staggering.
I think it's like the US. You get to the point that's like, hey, let's have a short trip to New York. My wife never been to New York, and hey, it's 6.5-hour flight. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah. Well, I want to get you out of there so you can get doing your business stuff today. So before we go, where can people find out more about what you guys are doing and give us all that information?
I mean, Instagram nowadays is probably the most updated channel. Soon we will start doing, I think, a TikTok as well to be updated. It's just, you got to do what you got to do.
So what's your handle on Instagram? How do people find you on Instagram?
Dué Cucina, DUECUCINA.
Okay.
Just
want to make sure.
Yeah. And it's fun. You can update what you're doing. You can show what you actually do, and you really reach your customer base in that way. Mm-hmm. And that's the most updated channel.
Okay. So we'll send it. We'll put a link in the show notes to find you on Instagram. I'll also put a link down there to your website too, because you got some nice looking photography on the plates there. So get people to try it.
Yeah.
And what else didn't we cover? Did we miss something we should talk about?
There's probably a lot of things that I want to talk with you. I mean, like what do you like to eat?
Well, just look at me. Does it look like I'm picky? Come on now.
I don't know.
No, I am. So here in Wenatchee, we do not have. We're lacking 2 things, in my opinion. We're lacking. I'm going to use the word good. I don't mean pretentious, but we don't have really good Chinese food, which Americanized Chinese food. Okay. So what you consider Chinese food and I consider Chinese food very probably different. And we don't have I just found a nice Italian restaurant, but we don't have any real casual pasta places. So I don't, and my wife tries to eat gluten-free. So I have to like go and sneak out to get the carbohydrates. And oops, I just admitted that and she'll hear this. No, I am a fan of pizza. I think pizza, other than pineapple, anything can go on a pizza.
You see, I love pizza and pineapple, but oh damn, I just buried myself.
Did you really? You like pineapple on a pizza?
Know what? Yeah, smoked ham and pineapple. Yes, fresh pineapple.
This episode just went down. I'm sorry. No, just
sorry.
Kidding.
Fresh pineapple.
Okay, so tell me something. I've never been to Italy. Is there any pizza around in Seattle that to you is like reminds you of home?
There are many pizza. You can decline pizza in many ways, and I'm right. Not one of those people that say, "Oh, this is not Italian pizza." It's just no.
Right.
Neapolitan pizza is the one that you can actually classify and define something very strictly what it is. Otherwise, all pizza are respectful. Okay. They can be respected, even though then you can talk about the dough was good or not, right?
Okay.
I make my own pizza.
Okay.
So
what are you putting on? What are you putting on your pizza?
We just go with fior di latte mozzarella. That's the classic. Nothing else. We use tomato either from the garden or the one I use at the restaurant. They're very good quality. But if I'm outside, I do not deny that I order mio posto or hard to say. Sometimes tutabella, but right now tutabella is so close to me that I can walk in 2 minutes. That I just don't want to do that. I just make it at home. Mm-hmm. If I'm hungry, pagliacci. I like the crunch. I like the crunch of the dough. That's what I are. I want to say out loud. I don't want to say out loud. If I don't have anything good about a place, I'm not going to say anything. But other places, sure. Tutabella is great. I don't go there as often. Mio posto is great. Oh no, beautiful. The best of the best I can say. Bruciato.
Oh, okay. Now I have not tried
Bruciato that. Is in Bellingham. Is on the island. What is the island outside Seattle? The closest one. Bainbridge. Yeah, absolutely. Hands down.
Okay. All right. So that's my thing. When I come over to Seattle, I pretty much look at the list of places my guests have suggested to me. Pick one that's near me and go try it. Food wise, I'll just go try whatever that's kind of the fun thing about doing this is asking you guys. So, hey, tell me something, and you'll say this and that, and I'll add it to the list. And then as we travel around, we go try these places.
Well, let me know. I might be able to join you.
I would love that. That would be fun. I think we'd have an enjoyable conversation and it'd be a lot of fun. So I am going to release you though to your daily duties, because it seems like as the kitchen's getting busier behind you, you're getting ready for a lunch rush.
I actually have a common news now at 12:30.
Oh, well then let me let you go, and congratulations. And we will talk with you soon.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, we'll talk.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Join us next time for another episode of the Exploring Washington State podcast.